Hello and welcome back to yet another edition of your daily sports recap for January 18th, 2024. My name is Lewis, and hopefully, it looks like I've got some good audio going here, so hopefully, you can hear me pretty good. If you've never joined us before, we basically just go over some quick sports hitters for the week and hopefully provide you with just, so to speak, some water cooler talk to help you get through your day. Well, what we've been starting with since we're in the NFL playoff season, we start talking football. So, what we'll do is we'll start with the four games and I'll give you my predictions. Now, I don't typically do spreads, I'm not a gambler, and I don't predict with scores. I'll try it, but I'll probably fail because I don't have quite the technical ability as you see some of the sportscasters do, but I'll try my best and we'll see what happens. I mean, the worst I do is get them wrong and we'll go from there. All right. Well, the first game of the weekend will be the Houston Texans visiting the Baltimore Ravens. It'll be a 3:30 start time in the I believe it's the Eastern time. Right now, it says that Baltimore is favored by 9.5. Texans coming off a great win this last weekend, surprise win where they dominated in their game, and they'll be taking on the Baltimore Ravens who had the week off, and so the weather is predicted to be 28 degrees. That's something the Ravens may be used to. The Texans not so much, being a dome team. My prediction is I think C.J. Stroud is going to do a surprisingly good job, but I don't think it'll be enough. And I think Baltimore, as they kind of get back into the rhythm of things, will run the ball a lot. I expect for them to have over 100 yards rushing. I expect Texans to have a couple turnovers in the game, maybe even at least one, but maybe two. And in the end, I think Baltimore will just be strong enough. I think the final score will be something to the effect of 28 for the Ravens, 20 for the Texans. Like I said, I think it'll be a much better game than people are expecting, but I just think Baltimore's ability to run the ball, their dependence on the run, will end up being just enough for them to pull that out. In the second game of the weekend, or on the second game on Saturday, the late game, will be the Green Bay Packers visiting the San Francisco 49ers, 7:15 start time. Expected to be 62 degrees out there in Santa Clara, and I don't believe at this point there's any expectation of any alternate weather. Right now, the spread is similar to the previous game where it's a 9.5 point favorites for the 49ers over the Packers. Again, another young quarterback in Jordan Love leading the Packers with their upset win of the Cowboys last weekend. I do believe in this case the 49ers will hope to avoid the rest versus rust argument, and they'll do similar to Baltimore. They'll have a steady stream of offense. Presuming McCaffrey's injury from a couple weeks ago was minor, you do have to remember it'll be near 4 weeks since he's played, and so hopefully 49ers will get back into it quick. Although I do think in this game, I don't expect a bunch of turnovers. I do expect McCaffrey to get something near 25 touches, both rushing and receiving. I expect one Packer receiver to get over 100 yards. I don't know who it is. And I think the running game will get about 75 yards. I just don't think it'll be enough. I think in the end, 49ers 31, Packers 21. I think the Packers are going to have a lot of emotion and a lot of energy off of their game last weekend. But again, I don't think it'll be enough for them. But we will see what happens. I think these games will both be a little bit better than expected as long as the youth, they don't get rattled. And honestly, I don't believe Jordan Love's going to get rattled. I think after what he did last week, he's going to be extremely confident going into this week. And the same thing for C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans. Now, Sunday afternoon, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will go and visit the Detroit Lions. The Bucs, obviously, with a big upset win over the Eagles last week or this past couple days ago, going up against the Lions, who had an incredible game against the Ravens. Right now, Detroit is favored by 6.5. I think Tampa Bay's defense is going to be a little bit of a shocker for the Lions. Again, another game where weather will not be a factor, although, if you saw the interview with Todd Bowles after the game last week and them asking how he was going to do traveling to a cold Detroit, if you haven't seen it, just look online and find it. Apparently, whoever was the interviewer forgot that Detroit plays indoors. But anyway, I think the defense for the Bucs is going to keep them close. I expect them to get at least one turnover, but I predict it'll probably be two. I think Detroit will surprise, and they will limit the Buccaneers to have under 50 yards rushing. And I do think, Baker Mayfield for the Bucs will have probably 200 yards passing, but I think Jared Goff will have a little bit more than that, roughly about 250. I think he'll have a couple touchdowns. I think Detroit will pull it out with a 27-24 score. I think it'll be less than the spread is predicted there, but I do think the Bucs won't pull it out. Detroit will pull it out. However, we will see how well that goes. And then the last game, probably what a lot of people predict the game of the weekend, it's going to be the Buffalo Bills hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. It will be in Orchard Park, New York, where the weather is supposed to be 20 degrees. Or at least at this point, it's predicted to be 20 degrees. These two teams just met about a month ago, with Buffalo coming out on top 20-17. One of this long streak of wins that Buffalo's had here to end the season. Now, what I'm going to tell you is right now the prediction is Buffalo by 3. My head is telling me that you shouldn't give up on Kansas City, but they've had some struggles. They had a decent game last week. However, I just think this is the game. I think this will be the one where Buffalo breaks through. I think Buffalo's going to come out on top. I think it'll be by that same 3-point score they had previously and by the point spread that's given on there. I think the Chiefs are going to surprise. I think Rashee Rice is going to have another 100-yard game. I think Pacheco is going to touch the ball probably 15 times in total, and I think the Chiefs will have at least one turnover in this game. I think they're going to try to target Travis Kelce a bunch. I predict him getting at least 6 targets. For the Bills, I predict Josh Allen is going to run the ball 10 times. I believe he will have at least one rushing touchdown. I also believe he will have an interception. He did go last week without an interception, but I think he'll have one this week. I also think neither one of these quarterbacks is going to throw for 300. In fact, I would not be surprised if one of them throws for under 200, just looking at the prediction of the weather. However, I do believe the Bills will come out on top. I think maybe very similar to the last time they met. It'll be a defensive stop at the end of the game, or it'll be a field goal to end the game. But I do believe the final score is going to be Buffalo on top. Instead of the 20-17 that it was before, I'm going to say 23-20. The Bills will advance to the AFC Conference title game. And I just was redundant. AFC title game. Anyway, any other news from football that we would have? Really, it's kind of moot. Bill O'Brien, since I'm a Patriots fan, Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator for this past season, is expected to sign with the Ohio State Buckeyes as an offensive coordinator. And so, it was nice to see him try to help the Patriots out with this year's offense. But with Gerard Mayo coming in, He's going to make some changes, and we'll see what happens there. See if he helps Ohio State out. The other thing, now I don't know anything about this player. I just saw um, the the news online that it said that there was a tight end for the University of Miami who is somehow given a ninth year of eligibility. I didn't get to read the story, but if somebody there that watches this reads it and can tell me more about it, definitely please let me know, because I thought that was really, really intriguing. In basketball news, something more interesting here. There were a few games on the docket. We definitely want to go over those. As far as the All-Star team, they did come out with yet the third returns on All-Stars. For the Western Conference, LeBron James is leading the front court, followed closely by Nikola Jokic. No, if I say closely, it was 500,000 votes. And then Kevin Durant. Those three were over the 3.4 million votes. Next one up would have been Anthony Davis at 1.9, just shy of 2 million votes there. Kawhi Leonard being fifth. On their guards, Luka Doncic is also over 3 million, 3.2 million. Number two is Steph Curry with 2.6 million. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 2.3 million. Then you got James Harden with just over 770,000, and Kyrie Irving just over 736,000. For the Eastern Conference, the front court is Giannis leading with 4 million votes, easily the top vote getter at this time. Second is Joel Embiid with 3.7 million, 3.72 we'll say, because Jason Tatum is third with 3.71. Then Jimmy Butler at 1.3 million and Jaylen Brown at 977,000. And then, by the way, just because it's right there, and then number six at 567,000 is KP, Kristaps Porzingis. So the three Boston front court players are in the top six. I thought that was cool. And then their guards, Tyrese Halliburton for the Indiana Pacers, 2.7 million, leading the way, followed closely by Trae Young with 1.8 million, Dame Lillard with 1.7 million, Donovan Mitchell with 1.3 million, and then Tyrese Maxey just shy of 1.1 million. So those are your current, most recent NBA voting selections there. As far as the basketball games, we'll make this really quick. Sorry about that. The Chicago Bulls beat the Toronto Raptors 116-110. The Bulls were led in scoring by Nikola Vucevic and Kobe White, both scoring 23. Oh, sorry, I'm reading that wrong. Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan both scoring 24 points each. Nikola also added 14 rebounds, and Kobe White had 23 points. For the Toronto Raptors, they were led by 31 points from Scotty Barnes, but it wasn't enough. Again, 116-110. The Washington Wizards lose in New York against the New York Knicks, 113-109. Knicks were led by 41 points from Jalen Brunson, 21 from Julius Randle. Brunson, by the way, also had 8 rebounds and 8 assists, so just shy of a triple-double there. For the Wizards, they were led by 24 from Jordan Poole, also 20 chipped in with 11 rebounds from Marvin Bagley III. Close, but no cigar there. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Utah Jazz coming up with a close game there. Oklahoma City ends up on top 134-139. Oklahoma City led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31 points. Followed closely by Jalen Williams with 27 points. And Josh Giddey coming back into the fold. He got 20 points and 10 rebounds. For the Utah Jazz, they were led by Colin Sexton's 31 and Lauri Markkanen's 26 with his 10 rebounds. Again, not enough. Final score 134-129. Indiana Pacers with a good win against the Sacramento Kings in California, 126-121. Pacers were led by 25 points from Benedict Mathurin, and then they got 20 from T.J. McConnell, 18 from Miles Turner, 17 from Jalen Smith. Still playing without Tyrese Halliburton, but were able to pull it together and come up with a win. Sacramento was led by 31 from Kevin Herter, 27 from Keegan Murray. I'll be able to read numbers here, I promise. And 24 from De'Aaron Fox. Domantas Sabonis again with a triple-double. He had 21 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. But again, it wasn't enough as the Kings were down 126-121. And in the last game of the evening, the Memphis Grizzlies fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota 118-103. Minnesota was led in scoring by Anthony Edwards, 28 points. Naz Reid chipped in 20. Mike Conley, 17 with 10 assists. Rudy Gobert, 17 with 10 rebounds. Just a balanced effort there. For Memphis, they were led in scoring by Jaren Jackson's 36 points, followed also by Luke Kennard's 18. Was not enough, again, as the Minnesota Timberwolves win at home against the Memphis Grizzlies 118-103. And that is your basketball scores for today. All right, doing some last-second quick hitters here before we hit the exit for tonight. Don't want to make this too much longer than we have. Just so you know, in men's college basketball, there were 3 top 25 games, one big upset. Number 10, Memphis loses at home to South Florida, 74-73. Memphis had a shot to win the game at the end. Javon Quinterly missed a three-pointer at the buzzer to prevent that win there. So big win for South Florida. They were actually down by 20 points at one point and were able to come back and stun Memphis. In the women's side, a couple big upsets to make note of. Number 4, NC State loses at Miami, 73-59. Also, number 15, Florida State loses at Syracuse, 79-73. Sorry, I keep saying got to stop that. And last upset, Duke wins at home against number 14, Virginia Tech, 63-46. In hockey, because I'm a Bruins fan and we're going super long on time, I do want to let you know the Bruins did win at home against the Avalanche 5-2, extending the Bruins record to 27-8-9. They are 14-3-3 at home. Definitely trying to compete with how they did last year. A lot of other scores that you could check online and see those. So definitely a good time there. So as far as other things to note with your sports today, do take note that the Golden State game scheduled for tomorrow has been postponed. Again, giving them time to grieve the loss of their assistant coach, and definitely still sending good vibes and prayers up for that family, for those that were impacted. If you look online, you'll see Luka Doncic actually passed along some positive words for him as well. Many coaches and other players that he had an impact with. So definitely sending our thoughts and prayers to them. Anyway, that's our update for today. I know it went kind of long, but definitely wanted to give my predictions on the football games. We'll see how I do. Anyway, hope that you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.